Boruto is a new series which comes after Naruto, and obviously because it is a new show, people do expect it to do better than its predecessor. Now, Naruto had a lot of issues, and I'm afraid that these issues will be carried on into Boruto, as the producers and the people behind Naruto are exactly the same people who are behind Boruto. When the series first started, the first task was to differentiate Boruto from Naruto, which has proved to be a difficult task since Boruto and Naruto virtually look alike. And the same goes for their techniques and personality, but those are not issues that we are about to discuss here. The issues we will discuss are things that we saw in Naruto that we don't want carried into Boruto because of the amount of fans it pissed off. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is the variation of Shadow Clone and Rasengan. Now, I know that every shonen character should have their signature moves, but Rasengan was the hell out of, and it really got annoying and boring real quickly because all Naruto did was just create another variation of Rasengan with any power he got, whether it be in Sage mode or Kurama mode or whatever it is. Naruto will just create a new Rasengan which got really old and boring, and sometimes he will increase its size or not, but it's always a variation of Rasengan. And the second thing is the second signature jutsu, which is Shadow Clone, and Shadow Clone has been spammed so many times and different variations of the attack has been used, and they gave the same thing to Boruto, which does not help differentiate him from Naruto. I actually hoped Naruto will create more jutsus or learn new jutsus because he unlocked Wind Style, but nope, new Rasengans. Basically what I'm saying is it wouldn't hurt to actually create a main character who has different variations of jutsu instead of just Shadow Clone and Rasengan, and I think they are pushing Boruto into the Shadow Clone and Rasengan route because he's using Shadow Clone a lot and he already has two variations of the Rasengan, which is the normal Rasengan and the invisible Rasengan. By doing this, all the fights will be less predictable, and that is good for the series. Now, the second thing I do not want to see carried over from Naruto to Boruto is the lack of character development. Now, in Naruto, Kishimoto introduced so many main characters to the point where he could not develop every single one of them, and even one of the three main characters, the top main characters, were not developed properly, which is Sakura, and Kishimoto even admitted that he did not know how to write women, which affected the way Sakura was developed, and that is why a lot of the characteristics and decisions that the character makes are horrible because Kishimoto actually did not think about it properly when he was deciding what the character would or would not do. In the Chunin exam arc of Naruto, new characters like Rock Lee, Tenten and Neji were introduced, but as time progressed they became slightly irrelevant because the main enemy had nothing to do with them or did not want anything from them, and they had nothing to use to relate to the story that was unfolding, and that is why they became irrelevant. Don't get me wrong, some of the secondary main characters actually got some development. I'm talking about Neji, I'm talking about Hinata, but if you were to look at all the others who were actually introduced within the Chunin exam, they really did not develop anywhere. Rock Lee did not develop anywhere. All we know is that he's an underdog who trains to become the best version of himself, and then we have Kiba, who's always there doing something. God knows what he does. We have Shino, who is always quiet, and we even have Tenten. Tell me something you know about Tenten. Don't worry, I'll wait. That's right. There is barely anything you know about Tenten. That is why I'm talking about character development. There are so many characters introduced to the point where a lot of them get neglected, and most importantly, these are secondary main characters who should actually help drive the story forward, but they don't because they have been neglected. Another thing I do not like about Kishimoto's work is how he only built up characters which he neglected near the end of their life, so we have some sympathy for them before they actually do. It's just something I think he uses to pull at the strings of the audience emotion, and I don't think it works because one of the best ways to get someone to sympathize for a character is to introduce the character and then introduce a background story which makes people relate to them, and as time progresses, when they come to the inch of their lives, the audience will actually feel some emotion for these characters. But in Kishimoto's case, what he usually does is he does not develop the characters anyway until they are near their deaths, and that is when he introduces the background of the character, saying this is the reason why you should feel sorry for this character before they die. I think by that point it would have been too late, as a better emotional reaction could have been created if the audience actually knew what this character had been through before they got to that point. A perfect example of this is Asuma's death. Now, the character Asuma is someone we really did not know anything about, except from the fact that he was the teacher of Ino, Shikamaru and Choji. Except from that, we really didn't get any other development development on him until the point of his death, where the audience got told that he was actually the father of Kurenai's kid, which personally did not work on me, as I did not have enough information about the character to help me feel sorry for them, as they had close to no development at all. In conclusion, the point I'm trying to make is that the side characters should have some goals which are relevant as to what the main character is trying to do. I mean, Sakura wanted to become a healer, which was important and relevant to Naruto because Naruto will be fighting and she will be there to assist him, which actually made sense, and that is why it made her a little bit relevant. Except from that, all the other characters really did not have any other goal which kept them relevant, and thus they became irrelevant because whenever they would appear, no one would really be impressed unless they displayed a important feat, and that is pretty much it. I don't want any of these new characters from these new generations to be a character who have a goal which is irrelevant as to the story, thus making them irrelevant, just like the Naruto cast. Another thing I do not want to see carried on from Naruto to Boruto are the stereotypical villains who either want to destroy the world or conquer it, and if not, they are evil for no reason at all. I mean, if you look at the Akatsuki members, right, a few of them had actually no reason at all to be in the Akatsuki. I mean, I know that Kakuzu wanted his payday checks and Hidan wanted some sacrifices to give to his god, but if you look at a few of the other members, they actually had no reason at all to join the Akatsuki. I mean, Kizame had virtually no reason to join the Akatsuki, and then we have the former partner of Itachi who actually joined the Akatsuki for God knows what reason. I definitely know that Sasori had no reason for joining the Akatsuki. Now let's move on to the next thing, the legendary Talk No Jutsu, the jutsu that could take down any enemy, and Naruto was a professional Talk No Jutsu user, so definitely he knows how to use it, and since he has a son which he raised with his naivety as well as Hinata's kindness, it creates an even more powerful Talk No Jutsu user which has become Boruto. Don't get me wrong, talking to your enemy is not a bad thing as it can lead to resolutions, but the main issue here is that the main character will always stop between fights which create immense tension just to talk to the enemy who most likely will not change, and this exchange goes on forever and ever in every single fight that the main character is involved in, and it increases tension and decreases tension, which can easily get annoying. And most of the time when Talk No Jutsu is overused, the fight becomes incredibly boring and people want it to be quickly over. Naruto is already a nice person who uses Talk No Jutsu. If they want to differentiate Boruto from Naruto, maybe they should not give Boruto Naruto's methods in terms of solving an issue. Maybe he should have his own approach, you know, something that makes him unique, something that they are trying to make Boruto's character. The next thing I hate is filler, and filler. Okay, Naruto has been plagued and absolutely plagued with filler, and that's really got annoying to the point where I stopped watching the anime multiple times because of filler, and this has been an issue which Kishimoto doesn't really seem to be bothered with at the moment, as he even requested filler episodes to be inserted within Boruto episode 8. Obviously, they are taking a different approach to fillers. Now, in my perspective, I would want fillers to actually build on characters, as a lot of the fillers within Naruto actually did nothing but just create random episodes which had nothing to build onto the story of the world, since the fillers were not canon. Now, if they were to do fillers, I do want them to use this opportunity, seize this opportunity to build onto the characters, to give us more character development instead of creating all these goofy stories which lead the characters to fucking nowhere. So I really hate the fact that they are doing fillers, and the way they try to counter, you know, all this kind of stuff, all the fillers, is to actually mix filler with canon material, so we cannot complain since it is actually considered as canon material. And I think that is an excuse to add even more filler, and you know, for those people who hate that, expect more from Boruto, since Kishimoto already is requesting filler himself, and I hate that. Hate it, absolutely hate it. The next thing is arse-pulls, and I cannot stand the amount of arse-pulls that have happened within the war arc of Naruto alone. Madara using Susanoo with no eyes, that just makes no fucking sense. The Uchiha tablet being changed by someone who does not have the requirement, which is a Rasengan, that just makes no fucking sense. Madara grabbing Hashirama and then sucking the sage jutsu out of Hashirama without any Rasengan or any absorption jutsu, that just makes no fucking sense. And another thing is that some of these characters within the war arc actually had jutsus which they apparently were hiding, and out of nowhere Minato had sage mode, out of nowhere, oh, Sakura was actually storing some power, and she can actually activate the Byakugo seal, which would have been useful if she activated it during their first encounter with Sasuke in Orochimaru's hideout. But that jutsu has an obvious weakness, as cells cannot regenerate if they are completely destroyed, and secondly, I don't think that jutsu can regrow limbs. Maybe it can reattach them, but I doubt it can regrow limbs, as Tsunade never regrew her lower half after she got split in two by Madara. Sakura could have actually used the Byakugo seal jutsu to actually heal Naruto, thus granting him 100% strength, and he could have actually gotten up and they could have fought Sasuke together. But then again, she chose to do nothing and Sasuke escaped, therefore she started crying, and it's arseholes like this which I do not like. Madara Uchiha became the fastest eye surgeon to ever exist in this universe, as all he needed to do is actually grab your eye and that is it. He puts it in his and he is already using it. No need to connect, no tendons or nothing like that. It is already done when he slots it into his eye. It's like Lego. And those are some of the many plot holes which actually occurred within the war arc, as well as a few other plot holes which occurred within Naruto. Okay, so with that being said, let's get on to the last one, which I hate a lot because this applies to a lot of anime out there, and that is the main character's stupidity. Okay, they always make the main character stupid, they make him too goofy, they overreact by seeing little things as panties. I mean, nigga, who ain't seen panties before, bruh? Like, niggas be jumping and shit like they discovered fire because they got a little sneak peek of some girls' panties. I mean, it's nothing at all. If you get the pussy, then that is the real goal, but seeing the panties is nothing at all. And I hate the fact that every or most Shonen Jump characters, main characters, actually have this type of behavior. And I know that they want to create a character who is fun and relatable to the audience, or a character which the audience will pick up really easily, but not every single person within the audience is a low self-esteemed beta male. Would you really want all this stuff to be imported into Boruto? I think not. And you know, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Share and like the video if you really enjoyed it, dislike it if you want. It does not really affect my channel. Haters. And obviously yeah, like, subscribe and all that kind of stuff. I have nothing more to say. Check out some of the videos at the end. Bye.